To a certain degree, yes, absolutely, because what do you feel like when you're all alone? There's no one there for you. Why are you crying? I'm crying because my loved one is gone, or I've had to separate from my loved one because they don't love me anymore. Who do you talk to? What will get you on the road to a psychological recovery so that you can once again join the human race and celebrate life and get on with life? And it's a very, very difficult process, especially because in this country, in this civilization, we are so afraid of death and mythology of death and all these different kinds of ideas that will flood into your brain. How do you sort them out? How do you sort yourself out? We have the resources to help you do that. I couldn't possibly put a time limit on that. We can't guarantee that, oh, well, you're going to be okay in 8 sessions. No, you might not. I mean, it's generally accepted that a grieving phase, a bereavement phase should go on usually for about a year, but that doesn't hold true for everyone. Some people have been going through pre-bereavement because their loved one was sick for months or for years, and so they've kind of gotten used to the idea, but then there's still, okay, the person passed, and now what do I do? Maybe the relief will make it a little easier for them. Maybe not. It depends on the specific situation of the individual and their support system.
Do you find that some of them then develop a real dependency upon a counselor and don't want to break it off?
Oh, we're trained to work around that. That's one of our strongest points of our training, is that we do not want you to depend on us as the professional. We develop the therapeutic relationship. And the therapeutic relationship, one of the first ethical rules is that you will not be able to develop a dependency on the therapist. So we work with individuals and families that they can explore all of the range of choices that they make that makes sense and has a degree of integrity, that the person who's going through the therapy can live with themselves, can develop more strength to get on with it. And I do have to say that in order to reach out for therapy takes a tremendous amount of courage in the beginning, because
yes, I know that it would.
To reach out to ask a professional for help is often thought of as, oh, I'm showing weakness because I can't do it by myself, especially for men. That's
it's non-macho.
Well, it can be, and unfortunately that's been the widely held belief. But I'm here to tell you that people who have the courage to reach out are generally stronger than the ones who are, oh, I'll show weakness if I have to reach out. We are trained to help people. We are helpers, and that's what our mission is. And I do want to read the specific Grief Resource Center
yes, please do.
Mission, which is on our lovely brochure here. The Grief Resource Center is dedicated to providing comprehensive services to people in the greater New Orleans area who have experienced a significant loss and or grief by providing programs that promote healthy life coping skills. So that's really the key phrase, healthy life coping skills, because when you are going through grief and loss, there is something that you have lost. And so in the face of that loss, how do you move on?
You have a very interesting brochure there. When people call your number, can they call and ask you to send them one of those brochures?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me give the number again. It's 1-888-472-2585.
I have another question for you. In the program by Alcoholics Anonymous, those people who attend the meetings, then outside of the meetings, contact each other sometimes for help. They call someone else who was in the group. Do you operate that way?
Not really. If people develop a relationship by coming to the groups, that's beyond our purview. We don't really regulate that. We do have some guidelines that apply really to all psychoeducational or psychotherapy groups. And the first rule is generally what happens in the group stays in the group.
Okay.
So yes, you can talk to your support system, your family support system, your friends support system about things that happen in the group. But generally, people who make that kind of conversation are specifically referring to themselves. Now, one of the bonuses of attending a grief support group is the fact that you do learn from the other people who show up. And you learn, well, what did you do to help your anger? What did you do to cope? What worked for you? How are you taking care of yourself? And taking care of yourself is a really easy thing to share if you found success in any of the options and choices that are open to you. I remember one woman said, well, I went for a massage, and people were amazed. And so how was that?
Yes.
And it made another choice available for the folks that attended the group, and maybe made sense to people who would never in a million years let a person touch them.
Yes.
We're sort of touch-averse in this world of ours.
Well, that leads me to ask, as your sessions go on, and they do have a conclusion, how do you measure whether any one of the persons involved has what sort of progress they have made, if any?
Well, we do try to take some numbers or numerical consideration, but it's very difficult because it's very subjective. So we do have some folks that are working with us that are more numbers oriented. I'm more human oriented than I am numbers oriented.
Okay.
But generally, a person who is reaching the acceptance phase of their grieving is pretty vocal about it. They want people to know that they're getting closer to their own personal solution or family solution, and they will often come to the group and share that, and it gives the others who are in the deep crisis of grief that is the immediate aftermath, the shock, it gives them hope. And they see a ray of light that, okay, well, this person got through it, so maybe I can too.
And some evidence of improvement would be that they could sleep better at night, or they've stopped crying every day, or how do you know? What is the evidence that says these people are reaching the goal that we're aiming for?
Well, there again, it's a very personal transition and transformation. Often I would make metaphors about it that I learned from another grief counselor, that initially in the first stage of grief, you've got this cloud over your head that's raining really hard, and there's lots of thunder and lightning. But after you've done the work of grief, and that is talking about it and actively seeking some kind of personal resolution. Because if you just sit and cry all day, there's not much I can do for you.
Okay.
You have to have the courage to reach out. So once you've got through, okay, maybe the cloud moves a little to the left, it moves a little to the right, maybe the rain lightens up and you're not crying as much, then you are doing the work of grief. You are moving forward. With or without faith. Faith in your human beings and faith in yourself is what we try to build up.
I'm glad you defined faith that way. We've got about a minute left, and I want to give that minute to you if there's something else you want to say about,
absolutely.
About the work you're doing. Go ahead.
Even though we are funded by the Akula Foundation, we accept donations, and so you can also call our number and say, I would like to donate to the Grief Resource Center or to the Akula Foundation, in which we provide these resources for folks that really need these resources. And that number again is 1-888-472-2585, and we would actively seek your donations, but we also actively seek your participation. If you are in a grief and loss situation, give us a call. We'll see what we can do.
And that is how you were able to provide services without a charge.
Correct.
Whereas there are other opportunities for people who want to see a psychotherapist or someone, but that they would pay for.
Thanks, Harry.
Okay, Lisa, thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure talking to you. We'll see you again.